Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
And thank you for joining us on Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Gretta and Yvonne, and we're very happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We want these conversations to be a tool that you can use to examine your creation of reality, to help you see what you're creating in your world, what shows up, and how to deal with what you're creating and what shows up. So for people who may just be joining us, every week, Yvonne, Gretta, and I discuss a quotation that Gretta has downloaded from the Realm of Beings. And then in the second half of the podcast, the Realm gets to weigh in on their quotation. Ladies, how are you today?
Doing well. Nice day here in Newtown.
Super. Okay, Yvonne, what is the quotation we will be working with today, please?
Yes, today we are going to discuss this quote. It is, "Be aware that all is one at all times, one with a capital O. There is never a reality in which you are separate from all of existence with a capital E." So I know we've emphasized when we capitalize things, so let's take it away. Here we go. All is one at all times, and there's no separation. Okay.
That's a big one.
Wouldn't it be
too.
nice if we all lived like that?
Right. But I
we
mean,
don't.
right. And I guess being here in this like earth plane, being human, I don't know. I guess maybe we're supposed to, feel the separation, like that's what we came here to experience.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, go ahead, Yvonne.
It's not easy though. It's quite challenging, speaking from my own experience. Yeah, I think, if I contemplate it deeply enough, it probably goes back to that that separation wound, and when you're, before you're even born, you're bathing in the realm of the womb space of your mother, and then suddenly you're, expelled out into this like foreign place of people talking and lights flashing, and yeah, it's a lot to get used to if you put yourself in that place of that tiny little baby. And I think that it doesn't get any easier growing up. So it's a lot to remember and to reunite, I guess, with the concept of we are all one at all times, because that's not what we're used to as humans, at least from my perspective.
No, I would agree with you. We're not used to that because, and we can see that we're not used to that because look at how situations that we have here on Earth, where there is so much separation economically, educationally, racially, ethnically, politically. So we have all those separations that we deal with, and that's the lesson. The lesson for us all, meaning all, it does not matter what color you are, what your belief systems are, what your religion is. We're all here to learn that there is no separation. So that's why it says in that quote, be aware that all is one at all times. See, that's the important thing, at all times. We're never separate from each other. We treat each other that way, but in actuality, we're never separate from each other.
Well, I have a question, or like an idea to throw out there. Just thinking about that, since it is such a great challenge here for, I would say, most people. What kind of tools can we offer our audience to get back into that idea of oneness with I mean, I would think that it starts with the idea of oneness within, and then it kind of goes through layers. It just, I don't think you can just, I mean, you might be able to, it's a possibility, just jump over to like, oh, suddenly I'm separate here and now I'm just connected to everything. When this say, like, what kind of tools do you think we could offer our people, Greta? Leigh, if you have any ideas, I'd welcome them.
I think thought. We have to seek out thought. I think the first step is that you're going to see, well, the life that you're leading, I want to change it. Mm-hmm. Regardless, you could be the CEO of a top, 500, Fortune 500 company, but you can still see that there's something about my life I want to change. That's the first thing, is to look for, how do I change these things? And I know you're asking me the how, but I'm saying the first thing before you can even get to the how is the desire to go through some type of transformational process. Mm-hmm. And it might depend on how the person might choose to do a transformation economically, mm-hmm. or a transformation in their belief system, or a transformation in their politics, which is a belief system. Mm-hmm. So then you look at, what am I doing? How am I creating? And they might not even use the word creating, because a lot of people do not understand that they create their own reality. They're giving credit to someone else or somebody else, and we're forever doing that. So one of the steps to that is to stop blaming people. I know we have a podcast on blame that we did last year, to stop blaming, and to look inward into self. But you've got to get to that point that you want to look into yourself. You want to explore. There's so many people that, if you tell them they create their own reality, they said, hecky no. Mm-hmm. I don't create that. I had one young woman who told me she wanted me to be her facilitator. I told her, I said, this is not going to work. I said, because she told me, she said, I want to be honest. I said, that's good. She says, I'm a good person. I said, that's wonderful that you feel that way about yourself. And then she said, people treat me badly. I said, oh, really? She said, every time I go to a job, I'm having a hard time. I said, really? What about that? So she says to me, I want to be honest, Greta. Anything that's good, I'm just going to cut to the chase now. Anything that's good, I created it.
I know what you're going to say next.
Right, for real. And then she said, if there's anything that is bad or evil, somebody else did it. I didn't do that because I'm a good person.
Well, that's
rationale.
separation in a nutshell, really, like good versus bad. I
Yeah.
take this and I leave the rest. So in order to really see the wholeness, you need to recognize the polarities. That's, I think, it's
And recognize that you create both polarities.
right.
See,
Right.
she accepted the good, but she didn't want to accept that what she called bad.
Okay, so she's in denial that she's responsible for the bad, but she wants to
Absolutely.
take all the credit for the good in her life. What type of advice, or what do you just told her, until you decide to choose to, recognize everything, there's no work here between us? I mean, like, how do you advise people like that?
Well, first of all, I love them unconditionally,
Okay.
and I accept wherever her belief system is. And I
Okay.
told her, I said, you would have to be willing to change your belief system for us to work together, because I work through the perspective that everybody creates their own reality. So that means everything that you experience, that you brought to yourself, I don't care if it's a conversation with somebody and it was quote unquote negative and you brought it to yourself, that's you. You created that. She didn't want to see that. And then the person that referred her to me, she told him that that was blasphemous. What I was saying is blasphemous. So I said, oh, this is the second time in my facilitation process, and the facilitations that I've been doing over 30 years now, that I'm blasphemous. So I
Well, you
said,
created that, right?
absolutely.
You created that
Absolutely.
to happen.
And you know
What
why?
nugget did you receive?
It was a
Why?
creation of reality to affirm to myself that I was accurate.
That you
And
were what?
I had said in my determination about would I work with her or would I not. See, that I brought her to me because I bring people to me from all walks of life, literally all walks of life, different countries. I have people that I facilitate for that are in prison for murder. Those people I facilitate for. So it's like I love her, and I love her enough for her to go and deal with self. Because the bottom line, when you ask me that question, Yvonne, the bottom line is we have to deal with self. That's it. Every person is going to choose how they're going to deal with self.
So if we take that story of her, whoever she is, so you kind of let her off the hook because she wasn't really taking responsibility. So now she has to find other tools to like have her deal with self. Is that right? Is that
She's in a search. It's not that I took her off the hook. Because see, I can't do anything to anybody.
All right. Well,
Nobody
she let
can do
herself
anything
off.
to
She
anybody.
decided that she didn't want to work with you. To make
Absolutely.
these more accurate, and it was your creation that reaffirming your belief system. So that's why she was in your life and you brought her into your life. And so maybe one day she'll find other tools that will give her the opportunity, or she'll create the opportunity to look at herself deeper and recognize that she probably should take responsibility for things and not keep blaming the bad on other people.
Absolutely, but it's at everybody progresses at their own rate. I have people that have come to me, have left me, and 5 years later come back to me. Mm-hmm. Literally 5 years later, 10 years later, come back to me.
Then they're ready to work with you. And you've also changed in those 5, because we're always changing every second of every day of this reality. We're always changing.
Every moment I'm changing. It's like even in the teachings, when I teach the teachings of the realm of beings, it changes. The facilitation processes that I do, that I did when 30 years ago, are totally different from the ones that I'm doing now. Very much so. So it's in a constant change, But when I'm changing, I always remember I am one with everything that is in existence. I must remember that, because when I remember that and I see every person as me and me as every person, then I'm going to treat that person with respect. And because as long as I treat that person with unconditional love and respect, that is what that person will give back to me. Mm-hmm. When I'm out of sync, you better know I know it, because something's going to pop up that's going to show me, Greta, you are out of sync. But
I think,
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, I just sort of wanted to tag on to that, unconditional word a little bit, because I mean, essentially, when you're, we all make bunches of conditions in our lives, right? And those conditions are choices, right? And it's a choice to agree to some societal norm, some familial norm, some cultural norm. Mm-hmm. However, when we're unconditional, that means, I think, like, we are choosing to what you were saying, like, accept and respect, like, where whomever is, right? But mostly ourselves, right? Like, we are where we are, and it's okay because everything is. And then, like, to tack onto that, and I know we've talked about it, like, maybe ad nauseum on other podcasts, it's like to suspend the judgment of yourself and everyone else if you can, and then, like, that tacks on to, like, the accept and respect. Like, if that lady wants to believe that she creates all the good and something else is creating all the bad, that, like, who are we to say anything contrary to that, right? Because, like, that is where she is. It's like that old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. So you can say something about your belief system, about how this reality is working, but not everyone has to agree, accept, buy in. They are where they are.
Absolutely. But the thing is that the journey that we're on leads us into the understanding that we are one. We're on a journey.
Right. At some point, like, like, I think that's the whole reason we're here, but, like, yes, it's to, like, get back to the unity, right? Like, that's the whole trip. Like, you were one, and then you have all these experiences, and then you're like, here I am again at the oneness.
Yep, that's it. That's
it.
Yeah.
I am the force, and the force had all of these experiences via this one, and added to the data collection pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
The record, they call that the Akashic record, don't they? Some people, like, all the data pool that's out there, or the memories of everything and everybody. And yeah.
And I was also thinking, like, we're talking about, like, oneness, and we're all one. And then it's funny, Greta, because you brought up the woman who was like, oh, I do only the good things for myself, and things that I do not like to experience is force outside of myself. But part of that recognition that we're the oneness, right? I mean, is to a greater or lesser degree, and maybe this is why this sometimes can be challenging, is like, if we're in fact the oneness, then we are the spectrum of everything, right? from the, you know, from the quote unquote good to the quote unquote most horrific, right? Like we are
Absolutely.
all of that to, you know, varying degrees, you know, like I know in myself that sometimes when I'm triggered and I slip totally into unconsciousness, I can be like downright mean, you know, to myself and to somebody else, you know? So that's here. Like I have that. Yeah, I want to think like, oh, I'm a nice lady, you know, mostly, but like I'm a nice lady a lot of the time, but there is that other part too that is like, whoa, you know, but it's there and I have to like honor that it's there and, you know, I guess just face it, you know, like, okay, thank you, you're there and I don't necessarily know what to do with you. I'll figure it out. But, you know, like if we're the oneness, we're everything from the most righteous to the most wrongness, I think.
Mm-hmm. If you, yeah, and then see, we can move ourselves out of that because when we start talking about something is good and something is bad, like that young lady
Well,
was
I'm
doing,
right.
yeah, you know, well, I know you're going to tell me it's judgment. You're right, it is judgment. And but the bottom line is that everybody is working under their own choices that they make,
Right.
under their own movements toward understanding and toward transformation. When we have completed this journey, and it's just not, some people go into reincarnation, some people go into past lives. It's not necessarily that. You know, you're staying in this laterality, you're moving in this laterality, which is like a hallway. You stay there until you've learned your lessons that you said you would learn. And technically, let me throw this out. And I said this this morning to a person I was facilitating for. I told him about in one of the classes I was teaching. I said, if Mary Jane has a headache, everybody's got the headache. You just don't recognize it. Because how can Mary Jane have a headache and you don't have a headache when you're one? It's just that there are certain parts of the realities that we shut out and some we keep. But there's putting like blinders on. So can you imagine that really everything that's going on, when we say we're one, we're having the experiences of everything that is in existence simultaneously, but we just don't recognize it because we've shut it down so that we can have a human experience. But in actuality, right now, while all three of us sit here, we are experiencing everything in existence. If somebody said, achoo, we're chewing with that person because we're one. See that's where oneness comes in. You have to start really getting, what is this oneness? What is this oneness? But see, it's hard for us. It can be a challenge for us. Let me not say it's hard. It can't, well, it's how different people perceive it. But it's that we put on blinders. When I was a child, and this is going to date me, but the watermelon man used to come down the street, not in a SUV, but in a carriage or wagon, let me excuse me, not carriage, but a wagon drawn by a horse. Okay. And they would say, watermelon. And, you know, and everybody would come out, oh, yeah, I want the watermelon and whatever. But that horse had on blinders so that when the people came out to interact with the watermelon man and buy the watermelon, the horse couldn't see you. The horse couldn't be spooked by you unless you hit it, because it didn't see you. It didn't see you coming. It was only facing forward. That was all it could see. That's why that's us. We're like the horse drawing the watermelon wagon. And the wagon is our life. We got all kinds of watermelons in there, different shapes, sizes, degrees of sweetness or non-sweetness, but they're there and we're dragging it right on along and we're moving straight ahead. I'm not looking to the right. I'm not looking to the left. Because, man, could you imagine where we would be if we could see everything?
But I mean, that's what I think is like part of the design, like that is the human design, because I mean, how would we, and I think it's like equally because we are one in this human design, like I think maybe that's why the suffering or the pain is sort of distributed amongst amongst those, so one does not have to, take the blinders off and feel everything from everyone. We've agreed to share it, so it's like more easily absorbed, or more easily experienced. Because I mean, we wouldn't be able to get through a minute if, I mean, that would be super crazy to have like every single thing in existence feeling it simultaneously. Like,
Yeah,
we
I'm
wouldn't
telling
even
you,
be
when
able
you
to like
said,
have this conversation, I think,
Because look at all the trillions and billions of
of
conversations
input.
that are going on
Right.
simultaneously.
yeah, what
Exactly.
made me want to do is just go back and jump under the covers and put everything, like, I don't, it's just,
So those blinders are
it's
designed
too
and like,
overwhelming. Or the other thought I had was like, I'll just go out into the garden and connect with every other person or being, whatever, that has ever picked strawberries right now, because I don't want to deal with anything
but
else.
even that, can you imagine? Think of all the
That's it.
strawberry patches globally. Like that's even huge.
That's a
Globally
good choice for
throughout
me
all
right now.
existence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know
Well,
it's
ladies, we
fun.
got the signal from Emily today, where we have a
Oh.
producer while Jacob is on paternity leave, that we are getting ready to go on break here. So yeah, we're just gonna sign off for a bit, take a nice break, and come back with the realm and see what the realm has to say about this quote. Be aware that all is one at all times. There is never a reality in which you are separate from all of existence. So, ladies, we'll be back, and listeners, we'll be back soon.
Hello, and welcome back to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We reached the point in the podcast where the realm gets to weigh in on their quotation. So, realm, are you present?
Yes, we are.
Yvonne, will you be kind enough to just reiterate the quotation of the day?
Yes, as a little reminder, realm and listeners, we are talking about the quote, be aware that all is one at all times. There is never a reality in which you are separate from all of existence. So, Realm, you downloaded that. What have you to say about it? Like, what's your information, like, that we could go a little deeper with this?
In the beginning.
Seriously, we're going back that far. Okay. We only have
In the
23 minutes,
beginning.
realm.
I've heard this before.
In the beginning, there was only one. In the middle, there is only one. And there is no end. Oh.
That's it.
Just a little bit.
We're done.
Okay, thanks,
Have a
listeners.
nice day.
Join us again.
Ah, I like that
That-
myself. I enjoyed that.
We have
Good.
nothing further.
Nothing further to say.
All you have to do is just contemplate that, and everything's going to be okay. Everything is okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's the middle?
It's okay.
I just threw that in there. What's
It's
the
Right. What is the
okay.
middle
There
of
is no
eternity?
middle because
I
it's
don't
all
know.
one.
You
There's
got
no
it,
beginning.
Yvonne.
There's no middle. There's no end because everything is one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just doesn't seem that way in this chaotic existence of reality.
Human 5 sense world.
All our constructs.
Absolutely. But there's only been one. And it didn't even have a beginning. It just is. You
Yeah.
see, there is no beginning really. And
That's
there
right.
is no
Yeah.
end. There is no middle.
That's
There's
right.
only continuous isness. Always.
So we should just float around and not worry about anything then.
Well, as humanoids, you like to worry.
I don't like to worry, actually.
Well, some people worry.
They do.
Yeah, they worry about everything. They worry about money. Am I going to have enough money? Where am I going to live? Where am I going to go to school? Will I pass the test? Will I be able to sleep tonight? Will I be able to do this? Will I be able to do that? It's just worry, 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 worry. In
Maybe
oneness,
I've
there is
graduated
no
out of that.
worry.
I don't worry much anymore.
That's good. That's
Mhm.
good. But what I said was, in oneness, there is no worry.
Right.
There's no need for it.
So does that mean that we shouldn't even recognize it? Like if we're talking about it, so does that, it means that it's present here and then I do worry because I know what it is.
It's present because as a group, collective group of people on this earth, this particular earth, because you know earth is in other places as well, but in this particular earth, this particular reality that you are focused in, notice I said focused in, then you create all these other things to give you, what do you call that, a run for your money? You know, some people, they don't want to be bored. You want to experience. That's why you came here. That's why we all came here, because now we're here with you. You know.
Sometimes I wish I had changed my mind and not done this.
Well, Yvonne, it's too late.
Gosh.
You missed it.
Yep.
But that's okay, because eventually you'll get to the understanding that you really didn't miss anything. Because see, in that quote, it says at all times. So right now, while we're sitting in our chairs and I'm sitting in Greta with my group, you know, we're all here. We're all the force. We're all in the force. Being in the force never stops. We're constantly in the force. What happens is you stop recognizing that you are the force. You stop recognizing that you are in the force and that you are the force, that you are in the force, that you are the force. That young lady who said to Greta, that was blasphemy. Well, that's okay. It'll just take her a while to get to the understanding that
there is no blasphemy. It's just a judgment.
yeah. And there is no judgment.
Oh gosh. Here we go. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Oh, the rabbit hole with that little girl called Alice.
It's just a fairy tale, doesn't exist.
Yeah, who wants to jump into a rabbit hole? Nobody. Although we do it.
A rabbit.
A rabbit, there you go.
Yeah. Well, guess
They've
what?
created that. So
We
they
are the
don't limit.
rabbit. We are the rabbit. So if we're with that rabbit is us, and we are the rabbit. So we've jumped into the hole. But if you go into the hole with Alice in Wonderland, that is a whole different type of hole. That is a jumping into realities where you truly, truly, truly accept the illusions that are surrounding you. You're truly accepting that you are not loved. You're truly accepting that I'm without cash. Because if somebody said, can you give me 25 cents so I can go out and buy me a now and later candy? And you're going to
Well, you
don't
haven't been
have-
here for a while. 25 cents no. For a candy.
Pretty
How
soon
much
it'll
is
be
it now?
$25.
20. My goodness. I never.
Sorry, I
entertained anything.
interrupted.
That's
But
all right. You put a little humor into the whole thing. That was good. That was good. Put another humor in it.
so when you say, or like when we talk about it, like, can we just get back on track to like, you're really accepting the illusion? I mean, what were you saying?
Yeah, you accept the illusion. You created it. See, what we don't understand is when we create these things, it's fitting with us because it goes with our lessons.
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to learn the lessons. That's the creation of reality. How, you know, and the personality really guides you. You know, there are certain things that you like about people, and there's certain things that you don't like about people, and that's okay. But when you're looking at that and you're saying that I don't like what she or he does because they are blank, 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 blank. Oneness, you're talking about yourself. So when you blame people, you're blaming yourself. When you criticize people, you're criticizing yourself. When you're loving, unconditionally loving people, you're unconditionally loving yourself. Whatever you do to another, so is it with you. So is it with you. Because you are one with that person. And it never stops that you are not one with that person. You are always one with that boss that you say you can't stand, who treats you with great disrespect. You are one with that person at all times. Regardless if you are awake or sleeping in your bed, you are still one with that individual. As you see that individual, then you see yourself as such. You see. Now, that young lady that Greta used as an example, who said that everything that was good was hers and everything that was bad was something else. I think she believed in the devil, if I'm not mistaken. She believed in evil. You know, so there you go. How can you, well, I guess you can. I mean, people do it all the time. You know, look what I did this. I'm happy over it. But then when you do something else, you go, oh, I don't want to even know it. I don't want anybody to even know that. You see. So we're doing things, you're placing things into your experience when you don't even know that you're doing it. You don't want to chastise. You don't want to unlove. You don't want to hate. You don't want to have fears about someone or just fears in reference to yourself. You don't want that, because everything that you are projecting on that person or persons is you. Because you are one with that person. If you say that that person is no good, if you say that that person is stupid, if you say that that person is an irate person, it's you. Because that's the only way you can see it. Not only that, but when you start criticizing, when you start naming things that don't belong to people, then what are you doing? You're establishing more and more an energetic state of separation. That's what the judgment is for. It supports separation. Criticism, it supports that, you see.
So, Realm, at the beginning of the podcast, I asked Greta a question, which kind of makes sense now with your the information you just shared. So the question was about what can we do, like what kind of tools can we offer our listeners to come closer to oneness and realize that we're not separate. So I think that's a good tool, like Greta said, just to begin with the thoughts. But actually that is an action to, when somebody's criticizing or complaining, that is their creation towards separation. And if we're in the company of people like that are doing that, then we can choose to engage or not engage. So I would say that by not engaging, you're choosing oneness versus separation. Is that make sense?
Yeah, pretty good. Not bad. Not bad at all. I would say not bad at all. Yes.
I like tools. I'm a person that likes to actually do things. So thinking.
But Yvonne, when you ask that question, what can people do? Mm-hmm. The people who are listening to this podcast are already doing that. It's the people who are not listening to anybody but themselves or to other people that preach separation. But the people that are listening to this and listening to the three of you and listening to us speak, and we're sharing our ideas of existence with them, they are open to that already. That's one of the steps. Mm-hmm. So seek out there. It's not just us that are teaching these things. Seek out. Seek outward as far as individuals that can assist you. You might just take a class in Reiki, and the teacher there is going to guide you in another way of thinking. Or you may just go to do the EE system, which is a machine that assists you in healing. So, you know, there's so many things that you can do. You can seek out others to see how do they think about this. You can read books. Sure, we've given affirmations. Sure, we've given QDRs. Those are certain things that you can use. But your question was dealing with how do we even begin to look at creation of reality? How do we begin to recognize that we are one with everything? You see, that's a big, big, big excursion into your inner world. Some people are way, way, way out there. And that's okay too. it'll just take them a long time to get back to knowing that they are the force. Some people create to be way out there. Some people do. And it's going to take them a while before they come back. And that's okay too, because everybody, this is exploration. This is exploration. Every being, I don't care what it is, from a blade of grass to a cell, we are all experiencing. We, as the realm of beings, are experiencing to know and to feel and to understand how it is to have no physical body. Can you imagine being without a physical body? Yep. We're just thought. We're just thought. I know some of the people in the audience can't even begin to perceive, how are we? How are we? One gentleman last year sent a message by way of our producer who's talking. And we said, we're the ones that are talking. We have no body. We're just sharing Gretta's vocal cords and sharing her vehicle so that we can speak to people. You don't see me right now in front of you. If those of you who are visually participating in this podcast, you don't see me. You only hear my voice. You only see Gretta. But we can do this with her because we are one. You see, we don't see ourselves separate from Gretta. Gretta doesn't see herself separate from us. We're one. We operate as one at all times. Yes. So open your minds. You ask me how? Open your minds. And if you've opened your minds, open them wider. It's called getting wide, not getting narrow. Go
Makes
wide. Go wide,
Right.
young ladies. Go wide, young gentlemen. Remember it tells you go west?
Yes.
You supposed to say
Go
west.
wide.
Okay, so we're talking about go wide.
Expand.
Wider.
Expansive. Expand.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that we make sense. That makes us feel good. Thank you so much.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you too.
Oh, now you see that. Look at that exchange. We feel appreciated. Now you know we created that, don't you? For her to say that.
We
Yeah.
love each other. We love you, Realm.
Yes, we like that. We like to be loved and cared for. We're creating that because we definitely love ourselves. We've learned that. We've learned that it's important for us to maintain love of self. If we didn't love ourselves, Yvonne, you couldn't tell us that you loved us.
Vice versa.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, creation of reality is oneness. Creation of reality is oneness, really. Because every reality you create, all of us experience it, except we're like the horse and the watermelon man. You know, the watermelon man and the horse. It was always, Gretta, you know, we were with her when she was a child, and those horses, they were so slow. They were kind of like the old horses, just
Realm.
flopping around. Are you going to tell me that it's time for us to stop?
No, we have 2 minutes to go. but I just was
okay.
curious to know. So you just said, oh, we've been with Greta since she was young. Is it fair to say, because like you are Greta, like she just maybe didn't realize you at a moment?
She really didn't.
Right, and then eventually she did, but you like you are Greta. You're just, I don't want to use the word dimension, but you're just another part of her.
We are her.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
We're not apart. We are her.
Right.
Guess what, Yvonne and Leigh? We're you too.
I was
Right.
that's the next thing I was going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm going to put them right back in your mouth.
Okay.
Realm, we have one more minute. Do you have closing thoughts?
Go wide, young ladies. Go wide, young men. Go wide, the elders. Go wide, the children. Go wide.
Expand.
We will do that.
Well, thank you, Realm, for joining us. Thank you, Yvonne and Greta, for yet another episode of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Until we create each other again, be well.
Be well.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.